feel super comfortable. Fun.
Okay.
Yay.
Okay. It's rolling. You can start.
Okay. Welcome to the world of Rouge. We're still trying to figure things out, so stay with us. I am Oliwia Rouge and Shredy is here with me. Today we still have questions from the audience, and I would like to read it out to you and to hear your opinion. So we have like a break free with Nur. Do I have to leave my old environment completely? I mean, I've worked hard on myself to reach an advanced stage of self-love and self-respect to the point where I make whoever I sit with to respect my viewpoints and my work, even if they don't agree with it. Otherwise, I will stop meeting them. But sometimes I meet some relatives since I don't speak too much, so I give them the opportunity to talk a lot about their beliefs with me or with each other. I don't resist them, of course, and I respect their point of view. But do I have to leave completely? I'm thinking about that sometimes we are in abusive relationships and we don't even see that we are in abusive relationships because we are so used to this dynamics and we think it's like kind of normal, their behavior. Yeah, and also thinking about like with families that we tend to make like compromises because they're like family. So because it's family, then I go there, so they are happy that I'm there, and I just get it over with, you know?
Yeah. It depends on the person's level of consciousness and on the person's goals. If the person is aware of his goals, of his aspirations, some people are not aware and they live in the group dynamics in peace, even if they're being abused. But if someone is conscious and he doesn't like it, then at least he has the ability to change that if he wants. You know, not everyone wants because the price is not cheap.
Yeah.
So one needs to choose what is his priorities. His peace of mind, his dignity, or the happiness of his mom or his dad or his uncle. Needs to choose. You cannot choose both because sometimes your happiness and your sovereignty is what makes him miserable. So one needs to choose.
I just think how difficult it is if you know that you cannot stay and you try to go out, that they don't let you go so easily. And they try everything to keep you there. But on the same hand, they don't work to come towards you and try to see you and to listen what you need.
Again, from my point of view, they are irrelevant. They can do whatever they want. They can choose whatever they want. What is relevant to me is what I choose, how I respond to the circumstances. And if someone is responsible, I choose my responses. I don't owe anyone explanations for why I do what I'm doing, especially when I'm acting in the range of the legal, the ethical, the moral. Many people come with a very low level of morality, but come to preach and to educate and to teach, oh, you should do that, and your mom and your dad, and they themselves, they are very unethical and immoral in many things. So if someone is responsible, an adult, and he knows who he is, and he knows with whom he's dealing with, and he knows the environment, then I will make my choices in order to achieve my goals. My peace of mind, keeping my dignity, my health. Because, living in abusive interactions is not only peace of mind. Some people get sicknesses because they cannot just leave, because they cannot set boundaries, because they cannot put their dignity on a higher priority than somebody else's pride. They compromise their basic needs for somebody else's luxury. In group dynamics, things can be confusing because it's not objective-oriented interaction. It is very subjective. You have two brothers or two family members. One person can create amazing things, and everyone will feel jealous and start to ignore what he's doing or what she's doing. Ignore, it doesn't exist. No. Let's not make him a compliment that he will not understand his value. Let's ignore him. On the other hand, there's somebody else that can make things that are ridiculously irrelevant, really, on the cheapest level. But you see everyone, wow, did you see what she did? Wow, did you see what he did? Everyone is agreeing to glorify mediocrity while ignoring and dismissing superiority. Because the superior is rare. The majority doesn't like it to be reflected that is not as superior. And in an environment and in an economy where they can afford that, welfare systems, economy where the social life is built upon the patriarchy or the matriarchy, where the money comes from the parents to the children, in this system, they can afford such corruption. But then this intelligent, creative superior, this Übermensch, will say, what's happening here? Why they are not seeing? They are not seeing and living in confusion, not understanding that he's intentionally being ignored. It's not that they are not seeing his value. They are seeing it. They want to dismiss it in order to feel, in order to live with their pride and shame in peace. Yeah. So kind of relationships are not only, especially group dynamics, where many elements are involved, not personal interactions, many elements are involved. It is not disconnected from the holistic, from society, from economy.
I think it's so crazy that we tell each other in every society how important family is, what value it has, and we put so much Bedeutung, meaning into the word of father and mother and grandpa and grandma, and we create this hierarchy which dictates how we should treat our parents or grandparents. But at the same time, in these families, there's so much toxicity that is accepted. So it's the total opposite of what it actually should be. This is very difficult for me to digest, to be honest.
Yeah. I think it is very... the programming makes sense, because the powerful here are the adults. The child is the helpless. The child is the one who's dependent upon the adults. So it's normal that the adults will program a belief system where they portray themselves as the reference, and everything should rotate around them. The child should sacrifice himself for the adults. The child should sacrifice himself for the mother, for the father. Of course, and the child will accept any belief system because he has no reference and he has no resistance mechanisms. So he'd accept whatever programming they come with as the ultimate truth. And you grow up on this belief system. The whole society grows up and nobody dares to question it.
Yes, this is the thing, that the whole society is programmed this way and it's supporting each other. So if you recognize that it doesn't fit you and you feel there's something wrong, this is not how my parents or my relatives should treat me, you are not being seen or heard. But they create like another narratives that gives you the feeling that you are wrong. So they put like another shame on you. It's so difficult to stand up for yourself, to hold to your truth, and to still make your own way. And also what you said with the body doesn't lie. So sometimes we compromise in this dynamics and the systems, family systems, and our parents or grandparents, they give you maybe money, but you have to sacrifice your dignity or your feeling of Selbstbestimmung.
Yeah, you decide for yourself.
You decide for yourself.
Self-determination.
Yes. And the body, it shows its result. I mean, I saw it myself on people that they got sick and they didn't know why. But on the other hand, when they were talking about those dynamics, they said that they are not happy with it. But still, they were dependent money-wise. And it was like different things that they got in their body. So every time they went to the doctor, there was something wrong. But they couldn't connect these two things. And also I have the feeling that a lot of people don't want to connect these two things between health and your body and the dynamics that you are with. We always think that these are two separate things. Yeah. Okay, thank you. I have another question, another topic from Fat. What can a person do to get married in a society that does not accept a person separated from his family and friends?
Yeah, I think even this is an inspiring topic, even for the question before, or for the theme before, because we can realize here that so many people living in other societies, like someone like you and me, who are living in Germany, and we grew up on values, like on the Western values, where there's a rule of law, where the state, like kind of, where the law is above everyone. Well, there are people in other countries where society might be above the law. If you are someone who has a clan, a strong clan, or a strong tribe, this might be the law. So kind of, even when it comes to relationships, we cannot determine, it's not the same, because some societies have a whole different code of ethics than what we have. That's why, especially for people who live in the West, who have the rule of law on their side, they don't need to follow relationships just because somebody said so. They're protected by law. I invite those people to practice their freedom and to know that they are lucky to live in a society where the law is on their side. They don't have to do what others say. So kind of, I understand the question of Fard, where he's saying that, in some societies you have to behave in a certain way in order to achieve certain social goals when it comes to marriage or human interaction. And all what we think about is how lucky we are. How lucky we are to be able to choose our environment, to be able to choose our partners. Nobody can choose your wife for me or your husband for you. We choose it. Not only that, we have the ability to go and to exercise our sexual interaction before going into a marriage. This is not available in other countries and in other cultures. We can talk about it a lot, why it's like this, but in this case, for the question of Fard, you live in such society where it's not easy for you to exercise your sexual freedom, or you're choosing your own partner, or even to live your lifestyle without being punished for it. You need to make your priorities. You're aware of the environment, you're aware of the social ethics. So kind of you choose your priorities and you live in line with what you find right. I mean, this is not an easy journey. Again, free will, of course you have freedom to choose, but it will come with feedback from the environment, from society, and I need to respond to that feedback. It's not kind of, okay, I'm free to do whatever I want, and there will be no feedback. There will be feedback for every action. There is a reaction, and then I need to respond accordingly.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting what you said, that we are in Western societies, the law is on our side, but we are so not aware of it. I've heard so many stories, and I also felt it myself, that even if it comes to friends, there is this direct feedback. And they really try to put this force on you that you should not, that this is not right, and they don't let go of it. And I heard also stories that some men or women, they didn't went into a certain relationship because the status of the other person was not what the father or mother would say it's good for the family. So even if the heart was on their side, they went against it for the society's sake.
Isn't it amazing? Like, we have messages from people from the Middle East or from countries, messages telling us how that they cannot do it, even legally. Legally, yeah. The legal in that context is social ethics. Not like what we know about the rule of law and the Rechtsstaat. And there are people in the Western world, in Berlin or in European countries, where they choose to let go of their freedoms for the sake of social harmony, sacrificing their health, sacrificing their love, sacrificing their passion, sacrificing their aspirations for the joy of a narcissistic mother or a narcissistic father or an uncle that has some kind of ego, big ego. They really let go of all their lives just to please someone who's just an emotional bully. You know what I mean? And society encourages that. Like, kind of, my message to the West: don't give away your freedoms before it's too late, because you will become like those countries soon when you start to behave like this, with all this social intimidation and social conspiracies and trying to point fingers on people who just choose their own freedom. I mean, we're witnessing the fall of the Western civilization now, economical, political, spiritual. You know, democracy falls because people lose the spirit of democracy before the system falls.
You know, what really makes me angry, that we, from the society where I grew up with, the culture that I grew up with, it's like the people, the generation before you, they dictate you how you should live, how you should be. You don't do this, you should not do that, because what will the people say, and so on. And then you grow up feeling that you were not free ever, and you create another life, and you raise them the same way, because if you didn't had any feeling of being free and choose freely, why should your children? So then you come into this control thing, and you control them, and they grow up with this feeling of, I want to decide myself, I want to be free how I decide, but you put such this force and this programming on them, and they grow up and they are like, I didn't have any freedom, so my children also will not have any freedom. So what kind of cycle is it? This justification of controlling because you were controlled. So you say you love your children, you want the best for your children, you create a life, and you say this is pure love, but then you control them and you make them feel unhappy. They tell you, and you're like, no, this is bullshit what you're saying. It's not so bad. I had it, so you have it too. This is what makes me really angry. Yeah. Also, there's a question from Gani in this direction too. I hope that you would talk more about the relationship between men and women, because I find myself that I need this relation, but I don't know a lot about it and about the person that I want to be with, women. And I see this in my daily life and at work. All of the relations that I have are with men, and that is because of many reasons. One of the reasons is that I was born and I live in the country of men and women relationship are so complicated. So I would ask your advice about how to be in a right relationship that enrich me emotionally and intellectually. I grew up in a Western society. I don't know from which country this person comes from, so it's difficult for me to answer it. And also to be in a healthy relationship, I mean, it's also a challenge here to find healthy relationships, what I think. I mean, it's not impossible. It's not like that every person is living in a toxic relationship, but a lot of people are struggling to find the right partner and to find a person that understands you and you feel comfortable with. So it's like a search and trial and error to meet people, to date people, to let go of your fear and to try again until you find someone where you feel that you feel comfortable with. And sometimes I also ask myself if people are at some point, okay, I really want a relationship. They have like a certain age and expectations for a relationship, and they find someone who they think, okay, this, check, good. And the other person, vice versa.
Yeah. I think it depends on the level of awareness, the level of consciousness of the person. It is, we've been programmed for so many years in films and in stories and in books and social stories of what the ultimate man is, what is the woman is, how we see in films how the marriage is being portrayed, and she has so many friends and he has so many friends, and there's so many stories of how relationships happen. So many people approach relationships, they're not present in the interaction. They're not seeing the person. They're seeing a projection of their own belief systems that's been programmed by those stories, by those films. So kind of, like, independent from which society we are living in, each society has its own programming. And what we want to do is, when we sit with someone, is to be present, to see the other person, not from the point of view of my programming and the films that I watched. And, I sometimes even work with certain men in order for them to interact with women. And the first attitude is putting a mask of a cowboy. Why are you doing that? You're not Clint Eastwood. What are you doing? Why are you putting a mask of the ultimate, the image of the man that you watch on films? This is not who you are. And who said that if you play that role, she will be falling in love with you? She might not like it. You're not meeting the person. Your person is not meeting the person, but you put a mask and you're meeting a mask, and there's no interaction there. There's no, you both are in a bubble. So kind of, there's a lot of beliefs, and you all like all those rituals of flirtation, of the cigarette, of the alcohol, of the whiskey, it's all coming from films. So they even reduced such a beautiful thing of a human interaction and sexuality to toxicity, to substances, to like kind of how marketing and storytelling and media production, all this propaganda, how it hijacked their consciousness into perceiving the human interaction from the point of view of the programming, not the point of view of the consciousness. There's no perspective. There's no one-on-one dialogue. It's always hijacked. There's third party in the background that is actually running the show, not the conscious person or the conscious person. So now, regardless if we are talking about men and women, on which society, human interaction in general, am I with you? Are you with me in the same room? Am I with you in the same room? Or I'm talking to a concept, or to a book, or to the sound of your mom, or to a book that you read, or to a film that you watched? With whom I'm talking to?
I have several questions now. Because, yes, this is crazy that we think that we are super cool and super manly and whatsoever. And basically, we were programmed only by people that want to make money. And I'm asking myself also, because I just had a thought about being a teenager. Because teenager, they have this transition from being a child, and all these hormones kick in, and especially they are super like, what is my peer group doing? They watch a lot of movies and have the superstars that they follow. And I'm asking myself like how much of an importance it has, this group dynamics from being a teenager, how much they influence us in the way we flirt and we perceive ourselves in this sexual or romantic dynamics when being a grown-up.
In the beginning, when we are young, there is basic needs to love, to be loved. The hormones run the show mostly. And what stays when we grow up is the habits. Like the basic needs starts when we are teenagers or young. And when people start, because of storytelling and propaganda, they start to associate love and sexuality with substances, with toxicity, with substances and toxic substances. And in this age, they do it, but with the habit, this is what becomes addiction. So they grew up on the habit. And if they want to understand how to cancel this addiction, how can they stop it? Even if they go back to the main cause in the childhood, needing to be part of a group, needing to be loved and respected, and so on. So the habit is strong. So it's not only that they need to change their belief system, they also need to overcome a habit by integrating a whole new lifestyle.
But for me, to be honest, I sometimes think that this time when I was a teenager and this group dynamics that I was in still influence me, how I behave when I'm in groups with people that are my age. And we are grown-ups, but I don't see sometimes much of a difference. How I feel in those groups, which position I take in those groups. It's the same which I was taking in when I was a teenager. And to transform this and to be aware and define your position new in this dynamics, it's not so easy. It's challenging, I would say. Not impossible, but it's challenging. But anyway, also the last thing that I wanted to say to this is like men put this mask, maybe for example of like this cowboy, but also women too. We also try to be super nice or super sexy or like whatever we think is the definition of femininity. And because we are afraid that otherwise we will not be appealing for the men. But how should we find a partner that accepts us in our own beauty that we have, with our own spirit and charming and authenticity, if we put on this mask? Because sooner or later, it will fall. No one is so strong to keep it up all the way. One of the reasons is that I was born and live in a country of men and women relationships are so complicated. So I would ask your advice about how to be in a right relationship that enrich me emotionally and intellectually, how to be the right person and how to find the right person for this relationship. Maybe it's not the time for this relationship. Maybe there's another things that I have to recognize and to know before this relationship that I want. Maybe I have to fix myself to be an objective and honest relationship. Maybe I don't deserve this relation because I don't know a lot about this relation and about the other party, women. I was also asking these questions myself a lot of times. Should I work on myself first and then go into the relationship? And then some people say that you can learn together in a relationship. So because you're never like whole, you're never like fixed. So when is the right time to enter a relationship? I mean, sometimes I knew, okay, now I am so occupied with myself, with my growth, that there's no space emotionally, because I felt that I would be triggered too easy, or I was just not interested, not open. So if you're not open, you won't meet anybody, no? It's not like in these movies. The moment I felt I'm not ready and I just wanted to be with myself, someone came in and I just fall in love. And it's not that it cannot happen, but I also think that there's something that is influenced by the movies. So there's a choice. I want to try, and now there's really no space for it.
Yeah, I mean, this is a matter of being tuned with who you are. Some people are not. If you're like approaching this whole theme from the point of view of a concept, of that you should be in a relationship, what you should be, what women are, what should men be like, and you'll always be confused, because this is not what we can think about. Is that I'm in tune with my dignity, with my passion, with what I like. If, there are so many men that want to be with a certain woman because of their mom, or because they want to impress other men, or because they are not really in what is the intention behind your engine? What is moving you?
Yeah.
So already saying, I want to be in a relationship, you're not, based on what you say that. Did you see the person? It is, I'm letting go, I'm just moving on with life. I know what I like and I'm honest about it. And I see this woman, wow. Now I want to be with her. It's not I want to be with a relationship. I want to be with that woman. Or again, some people move in life. The concept is running here of, sometimes I also had in the past, I worked with those pickup people. I didn't work, I'm not a pickup artist or something like this, but those men that, they come from certain backgrounds and they want to impress women, or they want to have relationships with women. And the engine or the intention behind it, I have to prove myself to my friends that I can get women. Seriously, how can you? Is this an intention behind having a relationship with another person, to prove something to a third person? You have to have a woman in order to prove to your family that you are not, I don't know what, or to prove to your mom that you are, or a woman has to have a relationship in order to prove to her family that she can get married and she can bring kids. What is the engine behind, what is the intention behind the whole approach towards relationships? You need to be aware of your intentions first. Hidden agendas and intentions that are hidden in your dark side and you're not acknowledging them, you will never be in line with what you're wishing for. It is the place to be is to be in tune with harmony. I'm talking about spirituality, but I can also talk about it on the emotional level or the physical level. You want to be in tune with harmony. We need to let go of all the programmings and the concepts, and I want this to happen exactly in the way that I want it to happen, otherwise I will not accept it. And who said that? Who said that? I'm just moving in my life, putting my intention honest out there, and I will let myself be surprised. I will meet things way beyond my expectations, and they will...
Oh my God. When I think about myself, how I try to be authentic and go with the flow, and when you say all of these things, all of my programmings pop up. Like, even if you try to be so aware, there's so much programming happening. And so many times I gave also men a certain position based on the surrounding that they were, on the profession that they have, on a certain status that they have. So for sure, I think now, if I am doing this already because of my programming whatsoever, of course I'm gonna be afraid that the person will not accept me for who I am. If I put this as a standard, no? But if I move with this intention of just finding someone who I feel comfortable with, who I feel like a sexual drive, and I like them, how they look, how they speak, how they think, I feel all in total so comfortable with them, then I will not be afraid or categorize them through certain lenses. And I'm way more free with how I show myself. If I acknowledge I want to be loved and in a relationship that feels alive, and where I have the feeling that we see each other and respect each other. So I would like to know, actually, but this is like an open thing because you cannot prove it or anything. How many relationships are chosen by this feeling of wanting really true connection and love? And how many relationships are chosen because of this whole programming?
Normally the relationships that are choosing the programming, they will live in harmony with the environment because they didn't challenge the status quo. People who make free choices and they behave in a sovereign way and they are aware of their intentions, of their goals, of what they like, what they don't like, and they follow their passion, those people most likely will face challenges from the environment because they reflect to everyone else that they are not free as they think. So you can count.
So it doesn't matter which topic we are talking about. That's what the feeling that I have. If it comes to relationships between men and women, if it comes to the lifestyle that you chose for you in general, the career that you chose to, if you do it outside of the programming, there's always going to be resistance.
Yeah, I mean, think about this. Like, let's say two people find each other and they marry and they really love each other and they have such strong unity and they live in harmony with their families. Suddenly the mother wants to access the relationship to show the wife that she has more control over her son than his wife. Suddenly the mother of the husband wants to show the wife that she has more control over her son. Suddenly many people want to call the friends, the family, everyone wants to come and to start now to talk to everyone out of the relationship in order for them to feel that they have control over it. And now here's the test of those couple. Are they sovereign? Are they willing to go in conflict with the environment to maintain their unity? Or they will sacrifice this love for the sake of the environment? Many people also face the challenges before they get even to that level where the mother can have a step inside the relationship.
And this justification is crazy. I do it because I care for my son. I love him so much. I just want him to be happy. But this has nothing to do with caring or loving. Because if you would truly love and care about your son and not about your status and your ego, you would let him live the life that he wants. And not trying to go with every force possible, and also to take all of the relatives around you with you. And everyone starts to talk about this relationship. Everyone gets involved, but it's for the sake of the family. So is this gaslighting?
Kind of. I mean, it's kind of. But this is denial of reality. Many people have already put on themselves so many layers of denial, of denying the truth in order to live in peace with their own ego and to avoid looking into their shame, that if you even try to take one layer of denial out, they already identified so much with the lie, with the illusion, that they will attack you. They will feel it as you really were stabbing them. So that's why when you are a conscious person and you need to live your life in a sovereign way, you want to be creative, you want to follow your passion, you want to make free choices, you need to be on a level of not only consciousness, it's also a level of courage to face all the consequences that will come from that.
Courage to go against what's on the outside and be ready to face that shame or whatever feeling comes up as a self-mechanism that will try to justify everything just to keep your ego safe. This is where like real work is done, from my point of view. Oh man, I have the feeling like today's topic is a lot about this awareness. Like to be aware of what kind of relationship you are having with your family and your surroundings, what you get out from it, how does it serve you, and what kind of relationship you really want with a man or a woman. What are you searching for? Is there any programming? I mean, in most cases, I think there is. And how strong is it? What kind of programming? And how to overcome this, like to really look inside you and be honest with yourself.
Yeah, and also kind of we meet each other on many different layers. Not everyone is conscious, just like the other person. Some people are like living only on the sexual consciousness level. They will meet each other. They see only one level of consciousness. Some people have emotional and sexual. Some people have emotional. Some people have only intellectual. Some people have emotional and intellectual. Some people have sexual and intellectual. Everyone, the people meet each other. Very few people meet each other on the spiritual level, like kind of the holistic, sexual, emotional, intellectual, where they perceive each other holistically. The whole being has been seen. It is very few. So kind of, that's why also many times they say, oh, this man doesn't have emotional intelligence, or this woman doesn't have intellectual, or whatever they call themselves, in order to, you're just not matching on the same level of awareness. If you're somebody who's only on the sexual level, you meet a girl or a woman that is only on the sexual level, you might like each other, and your life might be easy, and that's fine. But if you have kind of intellectual needs that are not being met when you meet only a sexual partner, you will feel lonely. You will find yourself finding clubs for kind of, you know what I mean? So kind of, so when we find if somebody's looking for a partner and you are in a high level of consciousness and you don't want to make compromises and you don't want to look for substances outside the relationship, then it is a matter of being aware.
Yeah. This makes a lot of sense. If you meet someone you like them and you realize, okay, we are on different levels, I would like to have more intellectual conversations and the other person is not on that level, so without trying to force something on the other partner, or to go again to this regal, like shelf of all this programming to justify that this relationship is still okay and I should stay with that partner because this partner, the sexual interaction is good enough, so why should I leave this person? Or this person has a good status, or my mom likes this person, my family knows this person already since 2 years, so they are used to this relationship, not to go there to justify. Because if you truly feel that this connection is not happening on the level that you need to, then you have to do your consequences. I think it's a difficult one.
Yeah, it is one of the most, I know that there's a lot of psychology and a lot of theories trying to make sense out of the mess. So many concepts and so many 1, 2, 3, 4 steps in order to make this and that and this and that. But this is like kind of you're trying to conceptualize how the room looks like to a blind person. But if something changes in the room, some dynamics, things change, the blind person needs to relearn everything from the beginning. And also it cannot be in a different room, in a different relationship, because he's already learned only this relationship. So in order to navigate in a relationship or in order to navigate in a room, either they need an emotional vision and a spiritual vision and a sexual vision, or they need guidance of someone who sees. But you cannot have guidance of concepts and theories of people who don't see themselves, who are already built upon concepts. It is. You see people who are living in a life where they never dared to take any brave choice. They live in harmony with the environment, and they never followed their passion. Somebody that wanted to become a pianist, but her family told her you should be an academic. So they learn they get an academic degree, and they never learn their passion, or they never exercise their passion. They never become the pianist that they wanted. And so this is this is a tragedy, you know what I mean? Because you sacrifice your true self for that the environment should accept you.
For me, it's like the first step to frustration. I can understand, it's not that it's good and right, but I can understand if you sacrifice something so essential that lives within you, just for the sake for the environment, that you would point on others that walk sovereign and their path, because this is actually what you always wanted. So I really, really am grateful that I am walking the path that makes me happy, and I have the courage now to do everything, to walk the sovereign path. And I hope for everyone else that they find the courage to do so themselves. Because I think it's worth it. Even if there's a great force, to be aware of it, be like, this is a natural step, but I don't want to sacrifice myself for anything else, for anything anymore. Yeah, and this is also very nice what you said about these concepts, especially here in Berlin. I think that there's a lot of this conceptualizing things and telling people how they should do things. And we think that there's a lot of guidance and security in it, but it can also make us fall over our own feet. We would say, like in Germany. So I think this is a great topic that we can also discuss someday in the future, about how to find your own recipe of living your life without concentrating too much on these books and different groups that tell you should this and you should this and you should this to be a happy woman or a happy man. Yes. So thank you so much for your answers. Thank you so much for your questions, and see you next week.